Alright team, we've come pretty far. You know, you're not my best, you're certainly not my brightest, but I know if you pull together, you're gonna get out there and you're gonna play one hell of a game. Who's with me? Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Hi! Didn't see you there. Tomorrow's the Super Bowl and I didn't have time to go shopping, so I am making snacks with what I have. Woo! Cheddar wrapped olives, or baked cheddar olives, or as some of my friends call them, hi TC and Jonathan, olives in blankets. You will need about 3 tablespoons of softened butter, salted or unsalted is your choice, but you do want it good and ideally room temperature. I softened it in the microwave and then had to harden it back up, but as usual, we are working with our mistakes and it will all come out just fine. Alright, so butter goes into the food processor. And then you put in a cup of grated cheddar cheese. If you get the pre-grated kind, as I did, I sometimes like to kind of pop it is the wrong term, pulse it in the food processor a few times to break it up into smaller pieces. We'll see how this goes. It should be okay. So a cup of cheddar cheese, a half a cup of all-purpose flour, and some cayenne pepper. I think 2 shakes usually will do. And, you know, if it's too bland, we'll add more. Alright, so that is dough. All stuff you perhaps have in your house. Crazy easy. The ingredients are in the food processor, and now we pulse. When you have pulsed a bit, take the cheesy, buttery, floury mixture and see if it's sticking together. If it's sticking together in a pretty good dough like this, you're probably going to be okay. I actually want this to be a little wetter, so I'm going to throw in another tablespoon of butter. So you can see after the addition of another tablespoon of butter, the dough is a little bit more pliant, it sticks together a little bit better, and that's what you want. So, the cheddar dough is done. We turn to the olives. These are just boring old, like $2 a jar olives with pimentos in them. You can get fancy and do it with olives with jalapenos in them, olives with garlic in them. Doesn't really matter because it'll be a salty, briny olive inside of cheese, no matter what, and yay for those things. So, how do you wrap a cheddar olive, you may ask? Well, take a good glob of dough, flatten it between your hands as best you can, stick a little olive in the middle, and then just kind of wrap the dough around it. And it's a little shaggy, but then you can do like you were making a ball with Play-Doh as a kid. You just kind of roll it up. And if the olive's too wet, then sometimes it parts the dough a little bit. But if you persist, you will get a lovely little olive ball. I will do it again. You do not have to watch me do it again if you don't want to, but I will do it again. Alright, so you take a good sized fingerful of dough. You take an olive. Oh, and by the way, I rinse the olives when they come out of the brine in the jar because they're, you know, I don't know. I don't know why I saw Alton Brown do it once and now I do it too, but you want to get the olives as dry as you can because sometimes the wet will cause the dough not to come together so well. But you just kind of, you know, put a little flat of dough in your hand and wrap it around the olive, and sometimes the olive will pop side, and sometimes the olive will fall on the floor. We probably won't eat that olive. So if you look at my cheddar olives, you will see that some of them are big and lumpy, and some of them are small and less lumpy. Your goal is smaller and less lumpy because that means you can cover more olives at a time. So you can see I got about 20 out of this batch, which isn't bad. The recipe, which is from Gourmet Magazine, although altered a bit by me because, as you saw, it needs more butter, says it should make 24 olives, so I think we did a pretty good job. So I have cleaned out the food processor and I have pulled out my other ingredients. In the food processor already is a 10-ounce package of frozen chopped spinach. I defrosted it in the microwave. You can also leave it out overnight, but what you want to do is be sure to squeeze it. This is the international sign for squeeze. It's like holding, squeezing. Is that a penalty
Holding?
or a thing? No, holding.
Or squeezing.
But
yeah,
squeezing,
like
I'm thinking squeezing should be something
Squeezing.
football players do more.
I disagree, I gotta say.
Okay, alright, you're the expert.
Their squeezing quota is filled before they start the game.
I have spinach on my arm. Alright, enough about me and my love of football. So spinach is in here. We're also going to add an 8-ounce softened package of cream cheese. Leave it at room temperature for 3 hours or so. It will be goody good. Did I say 3? It's 8 ounces. I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't listen to you.
I don't know. You shouldn't, because I make things up. Right, now we need a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. I may have disgusted, that's good because I am disgusted by mayonnaise, and I may have discussed my disgust before. And it's like, you know, with the peanut butter, and I just kind of dollop out the kind of correct amount. It's supposed to be a 1/4 cup. I'm just going to do a glob. Oh dear God, that smells gross. That's a bad thing to say on a cooking show. And another glob. So, you know, like 4 tablespoons of mayonnaise. Get away from me.
The smell of freedom.
Mayonnaise is the smell of freedom. Okay. 1 garlic clove. You can throw the cheese on the floor at this point or not, depending on your preference. Oh. I find it useful to throw some of the garlic on the person with the camera, but you know, you do it how it works for you. So 1 garlic clove being pressed in there, and scrape it off on the edge. You know, we're going pretty low tech this time. Alright, now is when you get into your options. This recipe was originally a spinach artichoke dip, using less spinach and more artichokes. I happen to have just a tiny little bit of artichokes in my fridge right now, so I'm putting them in there. Okay. You also want about 1/2 cup of some mozzarella type cheese. Again, what I have is a 6 cheese Italian blend. If you just have a 1 cheese non-blend, that's fine. So I'm going to throw a little bit more in because I like the cheese. We also want to put some Parmesan cheese in there. And again, like I always do, grate until you don't feel like grating anymore. I like to throw in a little bit of Tabasco sauce. Just a couple of shakes. 1, 2, 3, which isn't a couple but a few, and now that's like 4, which is edging dangerously close to several, but it's okay. Now this is a baked spinach dip. I also do a very good cold spinach dip, which I might share with you later, but excuse me, I have to do this from the right angle. But it's winter time and it's cold and hot things are good. So do a little pulsey to get things started, and then just turn it on and let it go. Yum. This actually tastes perfectly fine, cold and raw, as Charlotte can attest, yes?
Yep.
But we're going to put it into a baking dish. And really, I pureed it a little bit harder than I needed to. It's kind of nice if you still have chunks in it. But because the 3 hours I quoted for softening your cheese really isn't enough, I had to kind of pulverize it a bit. So yeah. So you smear it into a couple of baking dishes. I'll only do one because I don't have another nice pretty baking dish to share with you today. At this point, you can wrap it in plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator until you're ready to bake it. It also freezes just fine, so you can wrap it in plastic wrap, probably a little foil on top of that, and it'll last about a month. It's game day, and I have my snacks, which I have pulled from the oven. The cheddar olives soon... No, refrigerator. They're going into the oven. From the refrigerator into the oven. The oven has been heated to 400 degrees. And first, I'm going to put in the spinach with a little bit of artichoke dip. Spinach dip goes in there for about 30 minutes. The cheddar olives will go for about 15 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes and put the olives in after it beeps. Hi! So it's been not quite half an hour since we put the spinach and a little bit of artichoke dip in, and you can see the dip, I should have another oven mitt, but I do not, is brown and lovely. Now if you, ouch, excuse me.
Don't burn yourself.
If you want to make it browner and lovelier, you can certainly broil it for a little bit, but I think this is beautiful. So as I said before, we were putting the olives in 15 minutes after the dip went in. And you can see that the olives, pulled out 20 seconds early, are lovely and very lightly browned on the top and hotter than blazes on the inside. I love to do these as past hors d'oeuvres at my parties. But if you're going to do something like that, you really need to... Dinner's ready! You really need to wait 5 to 10 minutes because those little olives on the inside are just hot, hellish balls of juiciness. But, oh my heavens, these are delicious. But I'm not going to eat one yet because it will hurt a lot. This has been Gettin Saucy with Rebecca Scott. Yay! I'm gonna eat it now. Holy cow! Alright team, it's been a hell of a season. You have taken a lot of hits. Alright team, you've come this far and I'm real proud of you. Not the best, not the brightest, but you're the ones who were left. And I think we're going to play a hell of a game. You also will do other things.